Now let's look at some representations of functions, comparing that with f is a rule, square the number x. The symbolic representation would be f of x equals x squared, and the graphical representation is this parabola. It's a kind of a U-shape graph with lowest point, minimum, at 0, 0 on an xy axis. We can also look at a numerical representation as a table of values. So you will see all these different representations or forms when you are working with functions. When we're looking at function notation, we're most likely going to have to evaluate the function at some point. When you evaluate a function, you're basically solving for either x, the input, or f of x, the output. Now notice that I interchange f of x and y. This is because y is considered to be similar to the range of a function f of x, and it's based on whether you're graphing it in your calculator or if you're thinking about it as a substitution method or rule. F of x is read as f of x or f at x, or the value of f at x. In the notation, y equals f of x. X is the independent variable or input, or sometimes you'll even hear it called the free variable. And y is the dependent variable, which also can be represented as f of x. So I kind of just said that, but it's just very formal language. Remember, f of x is like your range. And x, or the input or the independent variable, is like your domain. So for this last example, we're going to talk about evaluating a function. If you have f of x equals 2x plus 1, and you want to find f of 2, that's not saying y equals 2. That is saying x is your input and it is 2. And we want to evaluate the rule when x equals 2. So f of 2 means apply rule f to the number 2, or find the value of the function when x is equal to 2. We will find an output, a dependent variable, a range value, all those words mean the same thing, for the function given. So we substitute 2 into our function, which means we replace the x value in our function with 2, and then we simplify. We know that 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 gives us 5. Now, we could also say that this function f of 2 is equal to 5. We could also say that our output y is equal to 5. We could also say that our range is 5. And we have to make sure that we say range value, because if we say range, that implies a whole list of numbers. It could include a lot of numbers. So a range value is 5.